Hey everybody, I figured I'd take this time while I'm at work not doing a whole lot to do a formal introduction video for my YouTube channel. And it's going to be mainly based around my 03 and 02 Mustang GTs. The 03 is going to be a twin turbo build. It's going to be kind of drawn out over time. I figured, I don't know, maybe about a year or two on that build, honestly. I got a lot to do, and it's just in the crawling phases of it. And I recently picked up the 02 because I have a lot of parts sitting around for it. I actually had a 2.1 Ken Bell. It's been sitting, and I decided I kind of want something to play with and race around in, and put out some more content with that mix of build and race, and just out there having fun or whatever else I decide to throw up on it. But currently going to be banging out that one, trying to get it done as quickly as possible. So with that said, it's going to lead into the video that this is about. It's the removal and reinstall of a ring and pinion on the 8.8. It's just mainly an instructional video, not that exciting. I'll try and kick up the excitement and quality of videos as we go along, so just bear with me. I'm brand new on this. Just put this out as some good information, hopefully. And I'm not saying I'm a pro or anything. I'm an expert on all the mechanics of it, but I've done numerous of them. They've all held up for me, so I figured maybe this video will help somebody out. So I hope you all enjoy.
See, the tires are off, at least on this side. But next step is the brake calipers and the rotor. So I'm gonna go pop those off. Okay, the brakes are off, and you're gonna want a 12mm socket, or 12mm wrench for bolt here and bolt here on the caliper. And once that's removed, you're going to need a 15mm wrench, and then you got bolt here for the bracket, and they'll come off. And then this is a very key part for the next one you have to remove, because if you don't, it is going to be a pain trying to get the C-clips out when you get inside of the differential. Right here is the ABS sensor. Be careful you don't mess it up. It's got a little bolt. I think it's a 1/4 inch bolt, and that'll be right there. And if you don't remove it, this part, just that fat part of the sensor, is going to stop you from going in any farther with this axle. And when you can't get any farther in, you're going to have a heck of a time trying to get that C-clip out. But when that's removed, you can push the axle in far enough that you have good, easy access to get to that C-clip. It'll save you a lot of time and a lot of headache. Now that the brakes and ABS sensors are removed, you can go ahead and get under the car, and next step is going to be removing this differential cover. You're going to remove those 10 bolts you see going all the way around, and they are 13mm or 1/2 inch. Now that the differential cover is removed and the fluid's draining, you are going to want to go ahead and get on the other side of it. And I still unfortunately have to drop the exhaust that's in the way. Maybe I might be able to get around it, but probably going to have to drop it. And you're going to want to get the 4 drive shaft bolts undone, which I believe is a 12mm, and they're 12-point bolts. When you switch sides to get to the one last bolt, and you're fighting it for 5 minutes and you can't figure out why in the world it ain't budging, it's because righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, you idiot. It's amazing how much easier it is when you turn the bolt the right way. That being said, got the drive shaft down, and now we're going to spin around back to the rear. And what's going to happen here is, move this a little bit. We are going to remove this bolt. Do that right there. That goes all the way through and holds that pin in, which you see right here. Get it straightened out. It goes through the center, and the 2 ends of the axle are right there. The C-clips are inside, so when we remove that, and having those ABS sensors removed, we can push those axles in far enough, remove the C-clips, and slide them out. We've got the bolt removed that locks that pin in. Going to just push it out. should come out fairly easy. If it doesn't, it's not a good sign. It's definitely don't look bad. Now that's out, and also I don't know what happened here, but it looks like at some point a ring gear somehow hit it. I don't know how it would do that kind of damage in the way that is, but whatever, neither here or there. I don't know how or I don't know why. So now that's open. You see the axle end, and then we're going right here, push it in. Got good, easy access to those C-clips now. Let's see if I can just get it to fall out. Nope. But you can see them. Just get a little flathead screwdriver. Actually, I'm sorry, needle nose is the best. Just grab onto it, and it should pull right out.
This up down crap is getting old. I need a lift real bad in my life, and a full-blown shop. I need a lot of things, but anyways, let's get back under the car. I got the needle nose pliers, and I'll show you how easy those C-clips come out.
Back under. Now we're just going to grab that C-clip. Bam. Easy as that. And if you leave those ABS sensors in, I can't say it enough, do not forget to remove those ABS sensors, because it will only come out to a point where you can just see that C-clip, and it is rough if you forget. There is the first one I did, I actually didn't know about it, and to be honest, the one on Ghost, I had totally forgotten because it's been years since I did it, and yeah, it fought me, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I spent 3 days on it until I remembered. But once I did, and as you can see, it's easy, nothing to it. Once the C-clips are out, just come get back up from under the car and go ahead and grab your axle. Be very careful. Keep it as straight as you can. Be sure not to damage the seal at all. Unless you plan on replacing them, then it doesn't really matter. And just like that, got your axles. These are the axle seals I was talking about, and you also have your axle bearing inside of there. So far, this bearing on the driver's side seems good, seal seems good, got a little bit of buildup around there, but I mean, that's normal. I mean, I don't think I've ever pulled one apart without some kind of buildup there. It could be from many things. It doesn't appear that this seal is leaking, so I'm going to leave it alone. I'll replace them when I end up getting a new differential and some 31 spline axles. Now that the axles are out, you're going to want to get back under here, and you're going to want to get those two bolts and those two bolts on the caps. Pull them out and remove the caps, and from there you will be able to pull out the differential and ring gear. Caps are removed. Now it's time to get this bad boy out of here. Be careful, you got these shims and the bearing caps. Set those there. Out it comes. Sorry if the camera was moving around. I actually had it leaned up against a creeper. Didn't really have many options, but I think we got it. But it's out of there and on the pan. I gotta get that ring gear off of it, and I don't have my impact, so that is not gonna be fun. So I gotta ponder that for a minute. Once you have the differential out from under the car, you're gonna wanna remove the 10 bolts that hold the ring gear to it. They are 19 millimeters. Once you get those removed, the ring gear will drop down. You might need to use a hammer or something, and if you don't really care about the factory gear, it doesn't really matter if you use a regular hammer or a dead blow. Just like that, with a little bit of hammeritis, got the ring gear off. I was a little gentle with it, just because who knows, you might need it in the future for some reason. Highly doubt it. I don't really have any intention of ever using it again, but I said earlier, it doesn't matter what hammer you use, but even if you use a metal hammer, I don't suggest, or a regular hammer, I don't suggest wailing on it. I just give it a couple taps and it'll eventually come down. After you get done popping that ring gear off, you're going to want to get back under the car, and this is what I found worked best for me. I just get a long pry bar, put those drive shaft bolts back in the yoke, and it's a 1 1/16 inch socket. I just throw it on an impact to remove. I don't use an impact to reinstall. It's just easier to buzz it off, and then when you go to put it back on, you want to use a standard ratchet and just apply steady pressure to it so you don't over crush the crush sleeve or put too much tension on it. I forget the exact measurement you need, but I generally just get it to where it's got a little bit of drag but spins fairly freely without binding. Got the pinion nut off and beat this on through. And then we're going to pull out this ginormous 327 pinion, hopefully without cutting myself wide open. There she is. Another thing that's good for preventative maintenance is this pinion seal here. Highly suggest replacing that while you're here. And then that also allows you to inspect the outer pinion bearing, which I believe mine is shot, so that's going to be getting replaced.